In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. The country is in a severe sort of crisis. It is the crisis of economics crisis, and then obviously it is the terrorism. Economic crisis, Pakistan, off and on, does experience this trouble. Although we never were prosperous, we never prospered. Maybe prior to prior to the arrival of Z.A. Bhutto, we were developing at a faster pace. But after the nationalization of the industries done by Mr. Z.A. Bhutto, there was always economic crisis. Now this crisis has deepened a lot, and there are serious threats of the default that Pakistan government will be unable to pay its liabilities, and the upcoming installments of the lenders, as well as maybe we don't have enough to pay for our furnace oil bills. That is the trouble here. And as far this PDM government is concerned, I think obviously they are unable to manage, they could not manage the situation at all. But one thing which is known to very few of the people, and that one thing is that even if a single family, you know, they are in economic trouble. So it also means that for the past quite some time, they have been doing the wrong things. They have been pursuing the wrong policies, and they have been taking the wrong decisions, and for that reason, they are in trouble now. Now, as for the country of 220 million people is concerned, I think so that the policies of the government does pay the results, good or bad, at least after a year, at least after a year. So even if the situation is a very good one, even if the situation is a very good one, the previous government will be responsible. But if the situation is bad, even then too, I believe that the previous government is responsible for that. Now, the government of the federal government has decided that the market should get closed at 8:30 p.m. But the provinces, the provincial government in Punjab and KPK, they have told their they have told their excuse me, the traders wing, not to cooperate with the federal government, and rather to resist. And they have declared that we have the KPK as well as the Punjab traders have rejected this federal government's call to close the markets at 8:30 p.m. Why is it like that? Obviously, they want PTI want the federal government to perform as poor as possible, so that they could claim that we were not as bad as these people are. Rather, we were very good. So, so I think so. This is a kind of crisis-like situation, and there is a serious threat of the default, and it shouldn't be. The politics should not be played here in a situation like this one. I think we need to practice. We need to practice the patriotism, and above all, even if they don't like, even if they hate the federal government, that's fine. That's nice. But as for this, issue is concerned, I think that they must understand it, that it is not for the sake of the federal government, not for the sake of PMLN and its allies, rather it is for the sake of the country. And whatever is there for the sake of the country, I think the PTI should be at least cooperating, or if they don't cooperate, they should not be resisting in that. That is something what the PTI supporters should also understand. What is what is the politics, and the politics should be done. But where it comes the matter of the patriotism, I think we should keep all the politics aside, and we need to pay attention, and we need to say yes to whatever goes good and right for the sake of the nation, for the sake of the country. At this moment, I think the PTI should cooperate the government, that the government does not default, that the Pakistan state does not default, and rather emerge victorious out of that. But it would be needed, a patriotism will be needed on the part of the opposition, or on the part of the PTI and its allies. I think they need to understand it, and it shouldn't be. Even if the country, unfortunately, God forbid, if the state does default, what is going to happen then? I think everyone else will suffer. Everyone else will suffer, particularly the commoners. The commoners will not be able at all, the commoners in Pakistan will not be able at all to somehow maintain their living standard, which is already not as good, which is not satisfactory already. But if at all the country does default, what is going to happen? I think that the living standard of the people will plummet, and it will be really very very hard on the general public, on the poor people, on the people belonging to the lower middle class. I think so. The PTI and the rest of the opposition parties, I think this sort of situation should not be manipulated and exploited in their favor. It is called politics, and this sort of politics must be avoided. I believe that the patriotism come first, as for the political advantages are concerned, as for the political benefits are concerned, as for the manipulation and exploitation of the situation is concerned. It shouldn't be done in this like situation, in this like atmosphere.